Hi there, today we're going to modify and work with triangle pose. It's a really common pose for beginners, but what nobody is going to tell you is that while it may seem simple, it is not easy and it's almost impossible to get your form just right. I get a lot of complaints about this one, but don't be discouraged. Today we're going to break it down. I'm going to show you how to make it safe, how to make it work with your body so you can get everything out of it that you need. I still remember this conversation I had with some other yoga teachers a while back that we would love to take triangle pose out of the book. It's not that it's not valuable, but it's hard to do, it's easy to cheat, and it puts you at risk for injury if you're not doing it correctly. And hey, when you're over 40, you do exercise and yoga so that you don't get hurt out there outside of class in the real world. So doing risky things in class, it just doesn't make any sense. Sure, when I was 20, throw me upside down, wrap my legs into pretzel shapes, I loved it. But now I just want to work out, get stronger, not get hurt, and feel good the whole time I'm doing it. You know what I mean? So what's the point? Why do we do triangle pose, and how does it help us out in real life? Well, when you take a look at the pose, you can see, but by the way, side note here, I scoured my stock photos for good examples of triangle pose, which just drives my point home. This pose is tricky. Anyway, take a look. Your feet are apart, one leg is turned out, and your spine's extending sideways over that leg. So while it may seem like this is a stretch your legs kind of pose, it's actually a bend your spine to the side kind of pose, which means the primary purpose is to strengthen your core. And stronger core means better movement, better posture, better balance. And it's essential basically to everything that we do. When you have a weaker core, it can lead to backaches and other problems at the end of the day. Speaking of backaches, what is the number one complaint I get about this pose? It hurts my back. But if you're primarily feeling this pose in your back, then you're probably doing it correctly. I know. What the f***? Stand with your feet parallel and wide, but not too wide. Turn out on one leg by pivoting on your heel and grab onto your hips. Start tilting your pelvis to the side of that turned out leg. And as you start to come down, you may need to adjust the stance in your feet, making them wider apart or maybe even closer together so you feel comfortable and stable. Your spine stays straight and you're gonna go as far as you can until you meet that resistance. Maybe it's in your legs, your back, somewhere in your hips. That's where you're gonna stop. As long as there's no pain and just a good kind of stress, that's where you're gonna stay. You're gonna place your hands, you're gonna look wherever it's comfortable, up, down, straight ahead, and you're gonna breathe. Yes, you want to feel this pose into your back, but in the good stress kind of way, like your core is working to hold up your trunk. We don't want any bad stress on the body. Bad stress might feel like a twinge or just a strong, sharp sensation, numbing, electricity, something like that. If that's happening, we need to lift back up, maybe arrange our stance again, and just keep it smaller. Don't go as deep until you feel comfortable, you feel good, you can hold it and breathe. Tip number one, forget about your foot. It's very tempting to reach down and try to grab it, but remember, this is an upward lifting pose. I want you to think of lifting your spine upwards towards the sky rather than falling down towards the floor. I can guarantee you there is no prize in reaching your foot. Tip number two, as soon as you turn this leg out, you may notice that this back hip pops forward a little bit. I want you to let it. As you start to tilt your spine and keeping it straight, you're going to notice your torso is pointed a little bit down. That's when you're going to engage your core and tilt your rib cage a little bit up towards the ceiling while your hips stay in place, making triangle pose a teeny tiny twisting pose. See what I mean about hard? And we haven't even talked yet about your feet, your legs, your butt, your shoulders, your arms, or your neck yet. So I have about 85 more things I'd like to say about triangle pose, but I'll leave it at this. Remember, it is not an easy pose. It is a core strengthener. You don't need to modify. You keep it small, you keep it safe, and remember, there's no prize in the foot. Thanks for listening, and I will see you again soon.